this is the Fiery Joker, and we are continuing with Trilogy Time! In the previous review of Dragon Quest, you might have noticed that was the first time I ever awarded an F score to an episode of the show. And you might be asking yourself right now,
"Oh, how can this wonderful, sexy, intelligent man ever follow up on that?"
Well, how about reviewing the episode that I've never actually finished? This is Owl's Well That Ends Well. This episode begins with Spike and Twilight preparing to watch a meteor shower.
You know, this shower only happens once every 100 years.
A centennial celebration!
Oh my. Are you actually using words that a kid might not understand and they might actually have to ask their parents what it means? Okay, I'll give you props for that. So Spike basks in Twilight calling him her #1 assistant, which is nice that she finally acknowledges all of his hard work. However, things quickly turn down when Spike is asked to grab a special book that he accidentally destroys. Wait a minute, what? Previously, when he hiccuped fire onto some scrolls, they got sent to Celestia. Do hiccups and sneezes constitute different flame effects? Well, he belches whenever he receives a letter. Wonder what happens if he has a coughing fit. And Spike's been Twilight's assistant for almost his whole life. Surely by this point he'd figure out about his fire being a hazard towards Twilight's greatest treasures. And if this is such an issue, how has he not burned down the tree they are currently living in? And finally, are we seriously saying that this episode's conflict started because Spike sneezed?
My little pony, my little pony.
So they come to the picnic, really hammering in the whole #1 assistant thing, and Spike definitely sets up the picnic.
Wow, Twilight, you're lucky to have such a rad assistant. I wish I had someone to do whatever I told them.
What?
Ooh, me! I'll do whatever you want, Rainbow Dash!
Oh yeah, Pipsqueak?
I don't like where this is going.
How about taking out the trash?
Could you take this with you?
Shots fired! Shots!
Yes, ma'am!
She grabbed a half-eaten apple in her mouth. Didn't know she was that kind of fan. Then they continued to lay on thick how great Spike is.
Do we have Spike to thank again for this amazing spread? Isn't he simply amazing?
Aw, come on. I said come on.
Gee, I wonder if this is going to be a part of the conflict later. Then the meteor shower happens, and it actually looks kind of nice. Is that a quiet moment? It's rare. You know, I actually can't think of another episode that's done that. Then they continue to really hammer it in that Spike is super amazingly awesome amazing, lol.
Wow! These cookies are delish! Spike made them. Wow!
We get it. Everything's gonna come crashing down later. Can we move this along?
Aw, he's worked himself to the bone. And now the punch has been spiked!
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. It's confirmed that in the MLP universe, people still slip roofies into the punch. And you wonder why the fanbase is so lewd. I cannot believe they got that past the radar. Animaniacs would be proud. So Spike is put to bed, and Twilight stays up for a little midnight oil burning. Then she's attacked by horror movie tropes, which cause her paper to fly away. Could she just levitate it back?
Oh, this is a job for Spike. If only he were awake.
Really, Twilight? Spike's your assistant, not your intern. Oh, whatever. We need to somehow introduce our wrench in the machine, Owlowicious. Wow, leave it to Twilight to make a name that impossible to spell. Spike wakes up to find Twilight has a new junior assistant, and he's not taking it well.
Hi there. I'm Spike. I'm sure Twilight has told you all about me. Spike, you know, assistant #1.
Hey, it's because he's an owl. It's funny. We all see the who's on first comparisons, but
Who? The guy playing first. Who? The guy playing first base. Who? The guy on first base. Who is on first? What are you asking me for? I don't know.
it's sad when guys 80 years ago did this joke better.
That bird is out for my job. He wants to be number one. Well, I'll prove to Twilight that I deserve to be number one, not Freaky Feathers over there. I won't let him have my job if it's the last thing I do.
Toy Story! This is just Toy Story! Who's Twilight's favorite? Who's Andy's favorite?
We toys can see everything.
Dude, that's creepy.
So it's the next day and the ponies are, again, laying it on real thick, but this time about Twilight's new assistant. Seriously? It's only been one day and they're that impressed? Even though it took months for Spike to get praise? Geesh, no wonder he feels inadequate. Okay, let's put aside the fact that we as the audience know that Spike's jealous. You know, he turned to the camera and said it, so it's kinda hard to miss.
What's he all saddle sore about?
He's probably just jealous of Owlicious.
Maybe Spike feels threatened or worried that Owlicious will replace him.
Replace him? Ha! That's crazy. Spike knows he can't be replaced.
Right here, everyone else can see that Spike's bothered about something, but Twilight doesn't ask him what's wrong. Why? She'd do it for her other friends, why not the creature that's analogous to her son? This is an important point, and it's something I honestly struggle with. Don't just assume that people know that you care about them. It's important to show people how you feel about them and how much they mean to you. You never know what people are going through, whether they need your words of encouragement or not. You gotta tell people you love them very often, especially with children. Children have insecurities that need to be tended to. They don't adjust well to change or to foreign beings in their territory. It's like when mom and dad come home with a new baby. The older child gets worried the baby will take the love away from them. This is exactly what's happening here, and Twilight's ignoring it. Bad guardian. Bad. So Owlicious continues to show up Spike in the assistant department, and it's really hard to comment on anything because you've seen this story before. When a lot of us were kids, and I mean really little kids, we watched movies like Toy Story that had the conflict, but never spelled it out for us. In Toy Story, the characters showed us their feelings via actions and expressions. Here, Spike has to constantly narrate his feelings to the audience.
That bird is out for my job. He wants to be number one. Well, I'll prove to Twilight that I deserve to be number one.
Never again would I encounter the baby. Never.
So then Spike tries to refill Twilight's quill stash to get a leg up on Owlicious.
But the store is called Quills and Sofas. You only sell 2 things.
Sorry, Junior. All out of quills until Monday. Need a sofa?
Interesting trivia here. The character's name is Davenport, which is the name of a series of sofas made by the Massachusetts furniture manufacturer A.H. Davenport and Company, now defunct. Oh yeah, and that joke wasn't funny. Moving on.
Not a quince, a quill.
Right. A quill? A quilt? A quesadilla?
So Spike kind of successfully wrestles a chicken, and now he can finally buy the title of Chicken Chaser from the town crier. Fable 2. And just guess how this ends up.
Oh, Spike. I was calling out for you when you were turning this place upside down. Aloysius gave me one of his feathers to use as a quill.
I didn't know Spike could set things on fire with his mind.
There. I think I'll just, finish up the rest of my chores. Or did Aloysius already do them?
Oh, no. There are quite a lot of them.
Oh my gosh, Twilight! His need to talk about the situation couldn't be more obvious if he had a neon sign above him stating, "I'm upset!" Gotta love that plot-induced stupidity. She's lived with him his entire life. She should know better! So then, Spike finally gets caught for the earlier book burning.
I'm very disappointed in you, Spike.
You set me up.
So Spike goes to mope and... What?
So lifelike.
This kid is priceless.
And when Twilight discovers it shredded up on her floor, she'll think mouse-eating Aloysius is to blame.
Okay, first Owlicious was unintentionally making you look bad. Now you're making yourself look bad. We have 7 more minutes, guys. Cringe levels have reached critical mass.
That poor little field mouse, torn to pieces. It must have been Aloysius.
Okay, now it's getting sad.
You've let your jealousy get the best of you, Spike. I am truly disappointed. This is not the Spike I know and love.
She doesn't love me anymore.
I can't get angry at Spike for this. He's a kid. He's gonna get jealous. Honestly, I blame Twilight for this. As his guardian, she should know when Spike's upset. And right here.
You've let your jealousy get the best of you, Spike.
She sees that Spike is jealous after denying the possibility to her friends earlier. The right thing to do would be to sit him down and talk. But no! You just make him feel like shit. How's he supposed to learn this lesson? So Spike runs away and... oh my gosh, I can't tell what they're trying to make me feel here. Is it sad? Well, can't be that because they had the cliche food sack and then they try to pull this.
Could it get any worse? I guess that's a yes.
And this joke especially ticks me off because this isn't the first time we've heard this joke on the show.
The makeover, the s'mores, truth or dare, the pillow fight? I mean, is there anything else that could possibly go?
So Spike finds a cave out in the wilderness and just assumes that all of the gems above ground are free for the taking.
I never want to go home! Even if my tummy's full, the rest of me is still empty.
Oh, good! Please, spell it out for us a little bit more, why don't you? He has all the gems in the world, but he still feels like the poorest man in town. Show us how much more of a contempt you have for your audience.
You don't scare me. So you're big. Really big. And your claws are super sharp. Tail... extra spiky.
And your scales are green, and your eyes are yellow, and the sky is blue! Wow. So Owlicious comes to the rescue and is somehow able to fight off a dragon. Dead.
Spike, we were so worried about you. I was so worried about you. Why did you run away?
Because everyone in this episode is an idiot. Yes, Spike was being melodramatic when he ran away, but you could easily chalk that up to him being a kid. Twilight? Again, she has no excuse. There were so many areas in the episode where Twilight could have sat Spike down and shown a little empathy, like, Spike, I understand you're jealous, but you need to understand that I cannot and will not ever replace you. Or at least something!
It's just that sometimes I need some help at night. I can't ask you to stay up late. Owls are nocturnal. So I asked Aloysius to help, but not to take your place.
Then why did you ask for his help during the day? What's he supposed to think?
I'm sorry, Twilight. I never should have been so jealous.
And I'm sorry too, Spike. I should have been more sensitive.
No, you do not get to hand wave that. This isn't some small scuffle that may have only cost $50. Spike ran away from home and almost died! You do not get to treat this situation with that sort of banality. Be the guardian you're supposed to be and take some gosh darn responsibility and be serious about it!
Forgive me? Who? Me. Forgive me, Spike. Who?
And again, the Aesop at the end is very well worded. It's just how it gets there that's infuriating. So yeah, this was the episode that I never finished. Until I reviewed it. Why? Because it was predictable. But not in the way that you think. Now, I'm of the belief that predictability isn't always a fair criticism, because several stories that we experience are predictable. Half the most beloved stories of all time are simply variations on the hero's journey archetype. And even then, if you watch something a second time, can you not predict everything that's going to happen? Some people watched The Sixth Sense a second time so they could see how the big twist happened. They wanted the predictability. There was even a study that tested people's reactions to spoilers and how they affected their experience. Turns out, people who were spoiled actually gave the things they watched a higher rating. Why? People were able to catch on to all the little things that set up these particular twists. They were able to appreciate the work that was put into them, and as a result, enjoyed themselves more. Now, personally, I don't like spoilers because the first time viewing something is an experience that you can't get back or recreate, but not the point. So yeah, I personally don't think that predictability is always a problem. I'm more concerned with how it gets there. And how is it handled here? The laziest owl joke you could ever think of.
Oh, Spike. I don't know.
Third base!
This episode sucks! Okay, to be fair, it had something going for it with the angle of older child being jealous of new baby. But it does nothing new with it and paints everyone involved as freaking idiots just to get the plot rolling. The humor of this episode induces groans rather than laughs, especially with that one joke that they run into the ground that wasn't even that funny the first time. The writing is overwrought with spelling out everything the characters are thinking, so much to make other M jealous. The visuals were decent, but they had a lot of really weird tonal shifts, especially during moments that were intended to be emotional. And the message gets muddied when everything else didn't properly set it up. In other words, owls well that ends well does not end well. I'm the Fiery Joker, and next up is the worst episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Spike at your service.
According to the Spike the Dragon Code, I owe you a life debt and must serve you.
Help!
Cut!